Imagine standing right in the middle of a brutal, unforgiving desert.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the sun is just scorching, the sand is relentless, and right in the center of this sprawling nomadic camp sits this massive tent.
Made out of, like, animal skins and goat hair, right?
Exactly. And inside that tent, it is pitch black, save for the glow of a massive, solid gold lampstand. But before we step inside that sacred space together, I want to just offer a divine blessing for your day today and for your entire week ahead.
Yeah, beautifully said.
May your week be profoundly blessed, filled with light and purpose. So welcome. Today we are taking a deep dive into the source material surrounding Numbers chapter 8.
Right.
And we're pulling some really fascinating insights from the study notes of two Portuguese Bibles, the Holman and the NAA.
Which offers some incredible historical context.
They really do. We're translating these insights to explore this intricate, highly structured world of ancient Israelite worship.
And we really need to be clear right off the bat, this isn't a casual religious gathering like we're used to today.
No, not at all. We are looking at a world where the exact placement of a piece of furniture, or, well, the shaving of a man's body, are literally matters of life and death.
Yeah, it's a completely different paradigm. I mean, reading Numbers 8 on the surface, it almost feels like you're reading a highly technical architectural manual.
Or like an ancient human resources document.
Exactly. But beneath those really rigid instructions is this fascinating framework for how humans were supposed to interact with a divine presence that was, frankly, considered incredibly dangerous.
Right. And I want to start right with that lampstand, the menorah, because the technical specifications are just staggering.
Oh, for sure.
The text emphasizes that it must be made of hammered gold, not, melted down and poured into a mold, but hammered.
Which is wild when you think about it.
From the heavy base all the way up to these delicate, decorative almond blossoms, it has to perfectly match the exact pattern God showed Moses.
And the metallurgical skill required for that is immense. Like, the Holman study notes point out the significance of this construction. Taking a single massive ingot of gold.
One solid piece.
Yeah, one solid piece.
Yeah.
And shaping it by blunt force requires immense heat, time, and precision. I mean, just the sheer physical effort required to hammer out intricate floral patterns in the middle of the Sinai wilderness.
It's hard to even wrap your head around.
It really is. It communicates the immense value of what this object represents. It's literally a physical manifestation of the presence and glory of God within that enclosed, dark space.
Which, okay, that brings me to the detail that I found so strange in the notes.
Oh.
Yeah, the instructions are hyper-focused on the direction of the light. Like God tells Moses to instruct Aaron to set the 7 lamps so they specifically illuminate the space in front of the lampstand.
They have to throw their light forward.
Yeah. And I kept wondering, why does the orientation of the light matter in a room that is basically pitch black anyway?
Well, to understand that, you really have to map out the floor plan of the tabernacle.
Okay.
The NAA study notes highlight what sits exactly opposite the lampstand. It's the table of showbread.
Ah, okay. And we should probably clarify what showbread actually is for anyone listening who hasn't studied the tabernacle layout. I mean, it's not just a pantry.
No, far from it. The table of showbread, sometimes called the bread of the presence, holds 12 large loaves of bread.
Baked fresh.
Baked
Yeah.
fresh and replaced every single week. And those 12 loaves are highly symbolic stand-ins for the 12 tribes of Israel.
So wait, you have a solid gold lampstand radiating light forward, deliberately angled so it continuously illuminates the 12 loaves.
Exactly. The architecture itself is making this profound theological statement.
That's fascinating.
The visual message is so powerful when you put those two pieces of furniture together. As the NAA notes suggest, this deliberate arrangement is a constant physical reminder of God's continuous intention to bless the people. Yeah. The light, symbolizing God's presence, is literally always shining on the symbols of the 12 tribes. It's this unbroken beam of divine attention. Even when no one is in the room, that light is hitting that bread.
That's a beautiful image. But I mean, keeping that light burning 24/7 in a harsh desert environment doesn't just happen by magic.
Definitely not.
The lamps need oil, the wicks need trimming, the heavy furniture needs to be moved when the whole camp packs up. Having a space that holy and that highly regulated requires a really specialized workforce.
You can't just have any random person wandering into the tent to sweep the floors.
Right. Which brings us to the Levites.
The Levites, yes. The sacredness of the tabernacle demands a severe level of preparation for the people authorized to work inside it.
And the purification ritual to get them ready for duty is intense. I mean, it reads like an ancient hazmat protocol.
Oh, totally.
The study notes outline this rigorous three-step physical purification process. First, they are sprinkled with what the text calls the water of expiation.
Right, and the Holman notes suggest this water was likely drawn from the massive bronze basin out in the tabernacle courtyard.
Okay, so that's step one.
Yeah.
But step two, they have to shave their entire bodies with a razor.
Yeah, and the notes actually compare that specific act of shaving to the vows of a Nazirite.
Which, let's pause and define that, because the Nazirite vow is a very specific ancient practice.
It is. So a Nazirite was someone who took a voluntary vow to be specially separated and dedicated to God for a certain period of time.
Right.
And during that vow, they couldn't drink wine, they couldn't touch a dead body, and crucially, they were forbidden from cutting their hair.
Because the uncut hair was like a visible crown of their dedication, right?
Exactly. But when the vow was completed, or if they accidentally broke it by becoming impure, they had to shave their head completely. It was a massive spiritual reset button.
Okay, so the Levites undergoing a full body shave is signaling a total reset. They are being stripped of their old state. And then step three, they wash all their clothes. Stripped down, completely shaved, washed, and redressed. Looking at this whole process, I kept thinking about the sheer danger of their working environment.
The danger is real.
It feels like the Levites are essentially acting like a human grounding wire or, wearing a spiritual hazmat suit.
Right.
Because they are stepping into a space that is overwhelmingly powerful.
Yeah, spiritual hazmat suit hits the nail on the head. I think we tend to think of holiness as just a moral category.
Like being good or righteous.
Right. But in the ancient Near East, and specifically in this text, holiness is almost like a physical force.
Like radiation.
Yes, it is akin to radiation. It's lethal to anything impure that comes into contact with it. And the NAA and Holman notes point out this really sobering detail from the text the Levites were given to Aaron to do the service of the tent of meeting, specifically so that no plague would strike the Israelites.
That phrasing is chilling. So that no plague would strike. It implies the plague is just waiting to happen.
Exactly. The Levites aren't just janitors. They are a buffer zone.
They are the perimeter guard.
Right. If an ordinary, unpurified Israelite approached the sanctuary improperly, the sheer force of that unmediated holiness would basically break out against them. So the Levites absorb that risk on behalf of the community. They stand between the raw, unfiltered presence of God and the rest of the camp.
Man, that was a completely different weight on their job description.
Yeah.
And, the ceremony to officially install them into this dangerous role is incredibly complex.
It really is.
I spent a lot of time looking at the mechanics of the wave offering. The text says the Levites are presented as a wave offering to the Lord.
Yeah.
Now, typically, a priest takes a piece of meat or a sheaf of grain and physically waves it back and forth before the altar to dedicate it.
Right.
But how do you physically wave an entire group of grown men?
Well, the NAA notes actually concede that the exact logistics of a human wave offering are pretty murky. We just don't have a diagram of how Aaron pulled this off.
I mean, I just picture Aaron literally having them link arms and walking them forward toward the altar and then taking a few steps back, physically acting out the motion of handing them over and receiving them back.
And that is a very plausible theory. The whole concept of the wave offering is about transferring ownership.
Okay.
You push the offering toward the altar, symbolically saying, this belongs to the divine now, and the divine allows you to pull it back for use in service.
Wow.
Yeah, the physical movement is literally the legal transfer of property in the ancient world. So the Levites no longer belong to themselves, they belong to the sanctuary.
And the communal element of this transfer is just staggering to me. Before the wave offering, the leaders of the congregation who represent all the Israelites, they come forward and physically lay their hands on the Levites.
Right.
And then immediately after that, the Levites turn around and lay their hands on the heads of two young bulls.
Yes.
One bull is slaughtered for a sin offering and the other for a burnt offering. There is this massive chain reaction of physical touch.
What you're looking at are the mechanics of substitutionary identification.
Okay, unpack that for me.
Sure, let's trace that chain backward, starting with the animals. By laying their hands on the bulls, the Levites are physically transferring their own guilt and identifying with the animal that is about to die.
So the animal stands in for the man.
Exactly. The bull takes the place of the Levite to make atonement. Blood is shed so the Levite can live and work in the holy space.
But before that happens, the leaders of Israel laid their hands on the Levites.
Yes. So the Levites are standing in for the people. Specifically, as the Holman notes highlight, they are taking the place of every firstborn Israelite.
Wait, this goes all the way back to the Exodus, doesn't it? To the final plague in Egypt.
Precisely. When God struck down the firstborn in Egypt to force Pharaoh's hand, he spared the Israelite firstborn, but in doing so, he legally claimed their lives as his own.
Oh, so technically every firstborn son in Israel owed his life to the service of the tabernacle.
Right. But instead of tearing every single family apart and demanding their oldest son, God takes the entire tribe of Levi as a substitute.
So when the leaders lay their hands on the Levites, they're essentially saying, you are carrying our weight. You are taking the place of our sons.
It is a massive nationwide chain of representation. The bulls die in place of the Levites, and the Levites serve in place of the entire nation.
That makes the obsessive purification make total sense now.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're carrying the representational weight of millions of people on their shoulders
Right.
and acting as the human shield preventing a deadly plague of holiness from breaking out, they cannot have a single ounce of impurity on them.
The ritual absolutely have to be as severe as the responsibility.
Okay, let's unpack this from a logistical standpoint.
Sure.
Because if you are serving as a human grounding wire, working in a high-stakes, physically demanding environment, you biologically cannot do that job forever.
No, you'd burn out or get hurt.
Right, so the text outlines strict age regulations for the Levites, basically a mandatory biblical retirement plan.
It was highly regulated labor, primarily because of the physical toll.
Numbers 8 states that a Levite must enter service at age 25 and then face mandatory retirement from regular service at age 50. But as I was cross-referencing the Holman study notes, there is a glaring contradiction.
Ah, yes.
Just a few chapters earlier, in Numbers chapter 4, the text explicitly says the starting age for a Levite is 30. You can't have both 25 and 30 be the official starting age.
Yeah, this is a classic textual puzzle that scholars have debated for centuries. The source material actually provides a couple of distinct theories to resolve this discrepancy.
Okay, what's the first one?
Theory A is what we might call the apprenticeship model.
So the idea that both numbers are correct, just referring to different stages of a career.
Correct. The theory proposes that at age 25, a Levite begins his service. But those first 5 years from 25 to 30 are strictly an apprenticeship.
Wow.
They are learning the incredibly complex protocols of the tabernacle, and only at age 30 do they graduate to full, unsupervised duty.
I don't know. I have a hard time buying that theory entirely. I mean, if 5 years seems like a remarkably long time just to learn how to pack up a tent and carry some furniture, doesn't it?
Well, you have to consider the sheer engineering complexity of the tabernacle.
What do you mean?
It wasn't a simple camping tent. It was a massive modular fortress made of heavy wooden frames overlaid with gold, massive solid silver sockets, heavy bronze pillars, and layers upon layers of thick animal skins.
Oh, wow. I guess I wasn't picturing the sheer weight of it all.
Yeah, dismantling it, transporting it on carts or on their shoulders, and reassembling it in the exact right order without damaging anything or, touching something too holy and dying that required immense coordination.
So a mistake isn't just a mistake, it's potentially fatal.
Exactly. A 5-year apprenticeship in that context isn't just about learning the ropes. It's about not getting yourself or your team killed.
Fair point. You definitely don't want a rookie fumbling a solid gold artifact that carries a death penalty if handled improperly. But the Holman notes also present a darker theory, Theory B, which points to a sudden manpower shortage.
Yeah, and this theory is tied to a specific historical trauma. Early in the priesthood's establishment, Aaron's 2 oldest sons, Nadab and Abihu, were killed.
Right, the text says they offered strange fire or unauthorized fire before the Lord, and fire came out from the presence of the Lord and consumed them.
It's a terrifying moment.
They were literally burned alive inside the sanctuary.
And the shockwave of that event cannot be overstated. Suddenly, the priesthood is severely understaffed, and the danger of the job is vividly apparent to everyone.
Oh, I bet.
So Theory B suggests that this tragedy created an urgent need for more personnel. Moses essentially had to lower the draft age, dropping the requirement from 30 down to 25, just to get more Levites into the rotation to handle the heavy workload.
That's really fascinating. It shows that these ancient laws weren't completely rigid. They actually adapted to the survival needs of the community.
Yeah.
And the Holman Bible points out that this draft age kept dropping. Centuries later, during the reigns of King David and King Hezekiah, the starting age was lowered all the way down to 20.
Well, by the time of David, the tabernacle was no longer moving through the desert. They were preparing to build a permanent stone temple.
Oh, right.
So the nature of the work changed, requiring a much larger workforce for different types of tasks, so the age was adjusted again.
Makes total sense.
Mm.
Let's look at the other end of that timeline, though. Age 50.
The retirement.
Right, the mandatory retirement. I always just assumed they handed in their bronze tools and went home, but the NAA notes clarify what actually happens to a Levite at 50, and it's a very nuanced transition.
They don't just walk away and head to the beach.
Right.
The text specifies that at age 50, they must stop the heavy physical labor. We just talked about the weight of those silver sockets and the wooden frames.
Tons of metal and wood.
Yeah, marching through the desert sand, carrying all of that is brutal, backbreaking work. By 50, the human body is wearing down.
So the mandatory heavy lifting stops, but they aren't exiled from the sanctuary.
Not at all.
They are actually permitted to continue assisting their younger brothers in guard duty.
They transition from being laborers to being elders, guardians, and mentors. They remain at the tent of meeting to help keep watch, likely guiding those 25-year-old apprentices we talked about earlier.
It is a profoundly practical and honestly compassionate system.
It really is.
It acknowledges the biological reality of aging without stripping the individual of their purpose. Their physical output diminishes, but their wisdom and experience are retained to protect the holy space. Their role changes, but their value to the community does not.
And, it forces us to completely reevaluate how we picture ancient worship.
How so?
Well, it is so easy to open a Bible today and imagine worship as this quiet, ethereal, purely spiritual experience of prayer and chanting.
Just sitting still in a pew.
Right. But when you look at the logistical timelines in Numbers 8, the heavy lifting that literally destroyed men's backs by age 50, the obsessive grooming requirements, the bloody, visceral reality of laying hands on a massive bull before it is slaughtered,
It's intense.
you realize that connecting with the divine was deeply physical. It was heavy industry combined with theology.
Wow.
It required intense, organized, sweaty labor. Maintaining the presence of God in the center of the camp wasn't just some abstract idea. It was a physical reality that demanded the absolute precision and grueling effort of the entire community working together.
The exact angle of a hammered gold lampstand. The shaving of a man's head. A human wall standing between the camp and a deadly plague.
Every detail matters.
Every single detail matters when you are hosting the divine. Well, thank you for joining us on this exploration, for wading through the sand and the smoke with us to understand this ancient world. We're going to say goodbye for now, and remember, God blesses all the listeners.
Take care, everyone.
We will see you on the next deep dive.